Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Data Dispatch. I hope you guys are having a great day. Well, we've been having this extended weekend with the holiday, and unfortunately, things have been kind of quiet because we've lost that day of stock trading. But let's talk about what we could be seeing this week, especially with PLTR and the general market. We have some key inflationary data that will be released, and also on top of Nvidia that recently reported some breakout earnings, talking about what this really means for big tech stocks and AI stocks in particular. So let's talk about it. If you are a new or returning viewer, hit that like button, subscribe for daily videos, and of course, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just collecting all the data and dispatching it to you. Now, pop it up on the screen right here. What you see is PLTR trading right now at $21. And what we actually officially have in the overnight hours is at about 21.30, 21.40 right now. So a little bit of some buying pressure that we're seeing in the overnight. And could this trickle down into next week? However, importantly, what PLTR really has been done in the previous few weeks is establishing kind of this nice sideways consolidation. And this is really good in terms of building support and in terms of holding this level above the $20 level. And the reason why I say this is important is because last year, $20 was really a key resistance point for PLTR. So the fact that we are able to hold this support level and stay above this building consolidation will be important for PLTR to have those run-ups to the mid-20s. Now, a lot of people have been wondering kind of what to expect in the markets next week, especially with a holiday week. Things kind of get thrown into a loop, even though you just lose one day of trading. One big thing that people are going to be looking for is the inflationary data that is going to be coming up. And also we have some key earnings here coming from big companies like Salesforce, Costco, and Dell. Now, on top of that, what the specific inflationary data that we're looking for right here is the Personal Consumption Expenditures Index, the PCE index, showing whether price pressures continue to cool. And remember in April, we actually had that first sign of inflation starting to cool. With that, the problem is, what is the probability that we have for interest rates that's going to be coming come September? Now, what we've seen is originally the market priced in about a 70% chance after we had this April inflationary report that we were going to see our first interest rate cut come September. However, with recent information that we've seen from the Fed, and specifically Fed officials, that probability of the first interest rate cut has now kind of decreased to about 50%. So this next, and especially here from May, that'll come out here, inflation report is really going to be incredibly important for the kind of volatility that we do see in the macro market, specifically talking about will we see those interest rate cuts. One thing that I think is important to acknowledge here is that Nvidia's earnings right here, we saw them have record earnings. And we also saw that they're going to be increasing their dividends and also having that stock split, that 10-to-1 stock split, which means if you own one share of Nvidia, you are going to eventually have 10 here pretty darn soon. I think it's happening sometime June. With that, this really does show here that the AI demand is not showing any signs of cooling off. It's actually increasing. And specifically with Palantir right here and having a really great quarter earnings, we're seeing that AIP has really been incredibly successful and has been a great catalyst for PLTR's success in terms of growing in the private sector and also continuing upon their governmental contracts and building upon both types of the equation. Now, with PLTR, one thing that I always do kind of highlight, and we see this from this article right here, is that the balance sheet is still incredibly solid. And why this is important is because when times do get tough, we're in this bull market right now, the AI demand is continuing to increase. However, if we ever do see a flip side, PLTR does have the resources to kind of get through any type of big storm. And also, in addition, if PLTR is a leading competitor within the industry, it also does have the opportunity to invest a lot of those additional funds into resources that are further needed to develop upon its technology. So the balance sheet being rock solid is one of the best things right here. In AI, we've seen that companies are really starting to invest in AI because we've seen that these companies have reported a good return on their actual investment getting into artificial intelligence types of software. And that's where Palantir falls into place and where we've really seen this win-win type scenario starting to develop and evolve in the fact that PLTR accumulating more customers, and these customers are keeping up the retention rates and also having the opportunity to improve upon their business. Now, talking about where PLTR sits in terms of analysts, I think this really gets important because right now we see kind of a neutral hold with PLTR. We see some high price targets in the 30s, and we see some low price targets we've seen from RBC at that $9 area. Where PLTR sits right now, I think in the short run, if we continue to see this AI demand, I think personally I could see PLTR testing the mid 20s again. If we do see any type of kind of fluctuation in the market in the next coming weeks, and especially with this PCE index that's going to be released, if we see bearish type of sentiment that does get released from there, I think we could possibly see PLTR testing that $20 level of support again, even though it's a critical level of support. And could we possibly see a pullback into the 18s or 19s? However, what we've seen is if we really have any kind of mixed data that comes out, we usually see a little bit of a pullback, and that gets wiped off usually the next trading day. So that's right now where I sit personally, is PLTR possibly gearing up to about that mid 20s here in the near future. And if we look at this specifically for earnings, we're going to be looking at August next, and where we see earnings per share is at 8 cents. Now, one thing that here is different for PLTR is we've seen a lot of earnings per share revisions that have always been in the bullish direction. However, we see only 2 here that are in the bearish direction, showing that maybe Wall Street is not keeping PLTR at really this high standard, which is incredibly important because PLTR has always been hit with this high milestone that it does need to hit. And what we saw with the last quarter earnings is that they slightly changed their guidance, which means here we saw kind of that overcorrection, I would say, in PLTR. It was kind of dramified in the fact that we saw that they had a great quarter earnings, but however, to slightly change their guidance, and we saw PLTR come down into the mid 20s. Now, on top of this, nothing has really changed, and they actually had an amazing quarter. So where I sit there with the earnings per share revisions and what we see is that Palantir is kind of growing into its valuation, which is one of its biggest criticisms that we've always seen for the stock being overvalued. Yes, it is trading at a premium right now, but look at all the other AI stocks out there and compare it to PLTR because they're all trading at a premium. So it'll be interesting to see what happens this week. What do you guys think is going to be happening here in the near future? Let me know down in the comments, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Peace out. Take care. I hope you guys had a great Memorial Day, and let's kick off a great trading week. Peace out.